Well, good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, and I should be here with a market recap, but we got canceled because of the weather forecast. Basically, we were rained out, which, to be honest, when I got up Friday morning, I said to John, I kind of hope they cancel. I've been watching that forecast all week long, and it wasn't changing. It was like 70% chance of rain for the entire time of the market, and I was just like, I don't want to drive for an hour, get all set up, and then get rained out. So I was very thankful that they canceled that market. So there is no recap today. I'm just going to share what I made, which technically was not a whole lot. It could have been better, but Wednesday, Jenna came by, and so I was visiting with her, so I got one thing made Wednesday night. Well, no, I take that back. I got one of the things that I wanted to get made Wednesday night, and then I started on some smaller items because there were a few in that set that I was out of. And then Thursday, I was able to make some more of those smaller items that I was out of because I had an eye appointment, and I was like, oh, I hope they don't dilate my eyes. I won't be able to see anything. And they didn't, because I didn't have someone to drive me, and I didn't want to sit there for 3 hours before they would release me to leave. So no eye dilation. But within the next week or so, I will be sporting and styling some new glasses. So hopefully ones that help me see a little better, because these are really old. And then Thursday night, I started one item, finished it up Friday morning, just got it finished, just got everything put into the square, which was not a lot, and put into the market bags, got all my lights and everything charged when I got the message that the market was canceled. So I was like very relieved. So then we decided to go live Friday night. And John cooked me a nice steak dinner because Friday was my birthday. Now I feel really old. Saturday, I slept almost all day. And here it is Sunday. I get up with my normal Sunday routine. I watched Heather and Tracy's videos, had some breakfast, and I feel like it's time to go back to bed. It's just been not a normal week. So anyways, let's see. What did I make? This first item was the first thing that I did on Wednesday night, and was one of the things on my list to get done. I was hoping, like, I had 4 items that I wanted to get made for Friday, and it didn't happen. But this was one of them. This is the medium scrump. To me, it looks like it came out a little bit smaller than the other ones. I just remember it being bigger, but I sold out of it, so I do not have it to compare to. And this one is a Madeline Mako pattern that I got from being in her Patreon group. So it does, to me, look a little smaller. Now, it could be because I normally, when I make my plushies, I do yarn under. But there are certain ones when I want to get a little bit more size out of it that I will do in yarn over. This might have been one of them. That's what I'm thinking, because it would have been probably, I don't know, with the hair about that much taller. Just the stitches are taller with yarn over than yarn under. But the yarn under looks tighter, and to me, it looks tighter and neater. So it's a toss-up for me. Which way do I want to go? But we did manage to get one scrump done. So now I have a couple of weeks before the next market. I will have a little time to get some of those other things done that I wanted to have made. But where I really want them for is when I go back September 5th to this last market I was at. That's where I really want some of these items for. So when I finished that, I decided I need to work on some Pokemon because I was sold out of quite a few of them. Well, 3. So I started with Pikachu and I made 1, and then I moved on to Eevee, I think. I'm not sure what order I did them in. And so I did 2 Eevees and 2 Snorlax. And then I went back and I did another Pikachu. So for me, the ideal inventory level would be at least 3 of each, but I was on limited time, expecting to be at market on Friday night. So I just did what I could of the ones that I was out of. Now, all the other ones I have left, I only have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it absolutely would not hurt to make the others. But this was funny. I'm making this, and when I go to sew the tail on, I have it upside down. So it's in front of me, facing me like this, and I'm sewing the tail on, and John comes in, and he's like, "Giraffe?" I'm like, nope, Pikachu. But, it was upside down like that. I could see, kind of maybe, you're seeing this little bit of brown, and, this could be the legs, so maybe I could see giraffe, but yeah. Pikachu. So we have 6 little Pokemon. I have others that I want to make at least 1 more of. Like I said, 3 would be good. Then I feel like I wouldn't have to worry about it for a while. At least a few markets, I would think. I don't know. Sometimes I think items like these, because you can pretty much get them anywhere. You can go into Walmart and, places like that and find those more popular items that, the big toy companies make. So I don't get too overly concerned with making those type of things. So while I was on the let's make some small items roll, as much as I don't like these, I made some more little mini bullet bees. I did 3. Now, the nice thing about doing these is they are so fast. They're fast, they're easy. It's a free pattern, all from Jade. Why don't I like them? It's like because everybody does them, because it's just like a little pill bullet shape, and I don't know. I like the more detailed type thing. And I know it's harder and it takes longer, but that's just what I kind of like. So the last thing that I had started on Thursday, and I didn't get it finished. I was almost done. All I had left was to sew on the arms and do the detail stitching on it. But I wanted to have an Oogie made. So by the time I got this finished, that's when, and everything in the square and all that, that's when I got the notification that the market was canceled. So this is also a Madeline Mako pattern, and it's a good size. See, next to the Diet Coke can. I forgot to do that with the other ones, but it's a good size. And this is done with the Bernat Mystical and a 6mm hook. You make the only things you're sewing on are the arms, but then you have to do all the stitching to make it look like the burlap sack, because, you know, Oogie is a bag of bugs, a sack of bugs, whatever you want to call. So, but he's cool. You could also do it in like lime green. So I kind of wanted to do that, but time wasn't going to let me get that done. But yeah, so you do, you make the legs separate, and then you do a chain and it gets crocheted together. You go up and around, you tack this part down, you sew the arms on, you do the side stitching, you embroider the eyes, and then you surface crochet the little eyelids, I guess you would call this. And I don't know, it's cool. It's fun, it's easy, and I like making this. And this is, if I didn't mention, Madeline Mako. Also came from her Patreon. But I did notice that she had them listed in her Etsy and said it was a limited time. But when I checked again, it was gone. Now, I didn't look again before jumping on the video to see if she put them back up. But she had like her Jack and Sally and the Oogie and a few other things listed for a limited time. So it might be worth a check. Otherwise, you find these in her Patreon. So we got Oogie done. And then it was time for the live. So I was trying to think of what can I do that would be easy, that if I lose count, it won't matter much, and still be productive while I'm chatting with you guys. I was so happy to do another live again Friday night, because it felt like it had been forever. I know it hadn't been that long, but I think July, I only got to do one because of the way the markets fell. Yeah, so I was kind of excited to be able to do that and chat with you guys, because like I said, it had been ages. So what I did to get ready for that, so I prepared some, got the heads of the snakes made, 4 of them ahead of time, and I had made one completely so I can just like use it for size comparison and I wouldn't have to count. And that left me with the only thing that I could mess up would be the tail. Like if I didn't do the decreases and the rounds in between the decrease rounds properly, that would be the only thing I could mess up. Now, if you've been doing it that way, they're all pretty much various lengths. It's funny. So this one was the one that I had made to use for the comparison. And then I started doing the others. So we did this berry colored and this yellow colored and this blue one. And then I had one that I did not get to that I finished yesterday. Yeah, Saturday. Yesterday was this other green. So this one's Spearmint, Mystical in the Spearmint. This one, I forget the name of the green, but it is the other shade of green that they have. I actually like that one better because there's more color variation. But as you can see, this one ended up a little bit longer. What can I say? They're handmade. They're not going to be identical. But I like this green better. You know what? I bet you this would be a good color for Oogie with the green. The wheels are turning. I think I'm going to do an Oogie in this green. Do I have enough? I had 2 skeins. I have enough. So this one I know is spearmint. You don't really see the color changes in it like you do with this one. This one is a blue. It is, I think this is the label for it, Storm Blue. I never got my hands on the other shade of blue that they have. And of course, the yellow. This is like a favorite. Looks great with the chicks or ducks, whatever. So we did that one, and then this one is berry. And I had at one time sat down and made one snake for each color that I had in the mystical. So like I still have some other colors, but when I was looking at my inventory of the snakes at the last market, I had basically like orange tones left. So all the brighter, more fun, I guess you would say, colors were gone. So that's why I decided I don't really need snakes because I do have 6 or 7 of them, but they're all like the same color. So we needed to add some color to the lineup. And I have a few more colors of mystical that I could do that is not already made. But yeah, this is what we did during the live. So that was fun. Getting to chit chat and talk about favorite potato chip flavors. Oh, sometimes we can get on some weird topics, but that we did good this time. I was finding it kind of hard to keep up with the chat and do the crochet. I do better when I just sit there and talk. If I'm trying to make something, I can't. So once the snakes were done, I did do a pattern test that I can't share until Wednesday, but it's really cute. It's a small, quick make, and it's very cute. She did a really good job on this pattern, especially being her very first pattern ever written. So we'll share that Wednesday. And then I'm like looking through, oh, what do I want to make? What am I in the mood for? I don't know. I know I have these things that I have in my mind that I should absolutely make for the market, and then I end up not doing it because, you know, gotta mix things up. So what did I do? I bought another pattern. I have a problem. I have a pattern shopping problem, but there could be worse problems. So I have been watching this particular pattern for a while. I've had it on my favorites for a while. And I was very intimidated, I guess would be a good word to say, when I look at the arms and the legs. I'm like, do you really have to make all those fingers and toes separately? I don't know. So I kept putting it off, and I'd look at it and I'd put it off, and I'd look at it again and I'd just put it off, and, you know, just like move on to the next thing. And I finally bit the bullet last night, or not last night, yesterday in the morning, evening, I don't know when. I just got it this weekend. I just got it. I can't remember what day I purchased it on. And I was actually, because I had people asking me about owls, I was looking for an owl pattern. And I think maybe I might have one chosen. I am not sure. I mean, I kind of want it to really look like an owl. And then I keep thinking I can go back to this first plushie, one of the first plushie books that I bought, and make the owl that is in this book. But it's done out of acrylic, and instead of being in the round, it is slip stitch to join at the end of each round. I mean, I know I could adjust it, but that's the owl pattern. So if I don't care for the one that I purchased, I might go back to this. Don't ask me what made me buy this book in the beginning, but I think I've only made the owl out of here, out of acrylic. It was one of my first ones, and I don't know, some of these look kind of cheesy compared to some of these other patterns that I've done since I've purchased this. These look cheesy. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I didn't pick any of the other ones, that I just went with the owl because it was the least cheesy. Or it could have been the only one I had yarn colors for. I don't remember. That's been a while. But anyway, so I purchased this pattern. And, you know, I might be crazy because frogs have never sold well for me unless they are the frog on the car swing from All From Jade. Those sell well, and I cannot stand making them. Well, that's harsh. It's not. Once I get past the eyes, if I can get the eyes to look right, I am fine with it. It's just the eyes never come out even. And I'm like, is it me? Is it the pattern? Is it me? It's just, that's the only thing. I like making the car swings a lot. I make a lot of them. I sell a lot of them. But there's just a few of them that make me crazy. And the eyes on that little frog are what make me crazy. Other than that, it's a great pattern. Great pattern. So I bought this frog pattern. Hopefully I'm not crazy. I think that this pattern is going to make a difference for me in being able to sell frogs other than the frogs on a swing. Just saying. So this is my first one. This is Poppy. And when you look at the picture on the pattern and you see all these fingers and toes, I thought, oh my gosh, are those all made separate and you have to crochet them in the round? How fidgety will that be? It's going to start off with 4s or 3s. And I was just like, ugh, I don't know. Well, I am glad I pulled the trigger and bought the pattern, because these are all crocheted as you go. They are not made separate. You're doing a chain and then a puff stitch, and it looks really cool. So I'm glad I did it. And I really think that this pattern, you know, he's got little knees, you know, so his legs look like froggy legs. I really think this pattern is going to help me out with frog sales. So I did this one in Sage and Seafoam, I think. It was kind of like the coloring that was used in the picture for these. So the first one, of course, took me a little while because, you know, I'm like analyzing the pattern as I go and getting 5,000 interruptions. Just saying, you know, life happens. So this one took me a little while. And then I decided I'm going to do another one. So I got out the emerald green and the kiwi, I think it's called, and much brighter and cheerier. And my eyes didn't end up crooked on this one, I don't think. This one, they're a little crooked. This one, the head looks a little crooked. It's just the way it's leaning. I don't know. But again, he's so cute. And I was so thrilled that these little fingers and toes were not made separately, that it was done as you are crocheting in the round. So these two look pretty much about the same size. Let me get my Coke can. So it's a good size. It's a good, I 20 and up price range. I think it was really quick. The only thing that you are sewing is you're sewing the head to the body. The arms and the arms and legs are crocheted in. The little, like I said, the little toes are a chain stitch and a puff stitch. And so it was so nice. So I'm into Tracy's live last night, and Mary was saying, make this in pink, make that in pink. Pink does good, blah, blah, blah. You know, just talking about the color pink in plushies. So I'm like, Mary, what do you think of a pink frog? And she's like, yes, a pink frog. So I did it. I made a pink frog. Now this one I had to finish up this morning. I had to sew the head on because I got tired last night. But I have to say, I was not overly thrilled with this particular skein of pink. It was not as thick and fluffy as, say, this green. And there is a size difference. Oops, let me turn him around. There is a size difference. Not a lot, but I can see it more in person than I can in camera. Like, his belly is a lot bigger, and they're both stuffed firmly. It's not that I didn't, you know, like I understuffed one versus the other. It's just there wasn't as much meat to this pink. But it does look really cool in pink. I was like, should I do the hibiscus or the bubblegum? So we did the bubblegum, and I believe this color is ballet. These are all the frogs, the only thing that is not chenille brights that I showed today is Oogie Boogie and the snakes. Those are all Bernat Mystical. Everything else I have shared with you today is in the chenille brights. I did, however, on that pattern test that I'm not showing you till Wednesday, get to use a little bit of Parfait Chunky. But I do find myself definitely gravitating more towards the chenille brights, not because I like it better than Parfait Chunky for the feel and the look. I love the feel and the look of Parfait Chunky. Like, I showed you guys this Miko monkey last time. Not last time, but within the last few videos. He's Parfait Chunky, one of the new colors, and I just think there's a big difference in the look. So it just depends on what you like. Some things I think look absolutely fabulous with this yarn, and other things I think need to be done with a yarn like this. So, just saying. Just saying. I have not placed an order for the new Parfait Plush. I want to. And then I look at all my yarn and I'm like, where would I put it? See, this happens. You try to get things straightened out and you order more yarn and then you run into the same problem. And I have a lot of Parfait Chunky over there that if all it ever got used for was car swings and keychains, it would take me a long time to go through. But I would really like to have the feel of Parfait Chunky, but the thickness of the chenille brights, have the color choices of Parfait Chunky, and then the chenille brights has some colors that Parfait Chunky doesn't have. It's so hard to choose. And then everybody's using the Elise Veludo. Now, I've had the pleasure of being able to use that one time for one skein that a very wonderful subscriber sent to me to try out. And I have not ordered it. I don't know. It was nice to work with. It didn't last very long. Like, it didn't get me through the project that I was doing, that I was using 3 colors on, and I ran out. I lost Yarn Chicken. But it was in a spot that it was hideable, so it didn't really matter that I ran out. I know Heather is enjoying it. I don't know. I just want everything that I like all in one package, if that makes sense. The look and the feel of Parfait Chunky with the thickness and the color choices of Chenille Brights, and them to be perfect skeins every time. No drag, no shedding, no variations in thickness. That's the biggest thing. Just, I want perfection every time, every single time. Anyhow, I think that we've just about covered it all. And let's see, did I say who the frog was from? I can't remember. This is Poppy. If I can get a hold of it. This is Poppy the frog from Tasha's Crochet Nook. The snakes are Saucy Puffin Crafts. All the Pokemon are Beck Made Studio. So those 3 are the only paid, per se, patterns that I did. Although I do consider the Madeline Mako Patreon patterns paid, because you have to pay to be a membership. So really the only freebie that I did today, or in today's video, are the little bullet bees. So, but I don't really need very many smalls. There's just a couple of things that I need. Anyhow, all right, you guys, I'm going to go, and we'll see you in Wednesday's video.